my name is William Duncan, and this is my Tolkien analysis of Malcolm X's speech, The Ballot or the Bullet. In his 1964 speech, The Ballot or the Bullet, Malcolm X delivers a powerful message about political power, justice, and self-defense in the United States. He begins by emphasizing that African Americans should use voting as a tool for change. He encourages Black Americans to recognize their political power and use it strategically and to demand equality. However, while it may not be the first option, he makes it clear that if the system continues to deny them full citizenship, rights, and protection, then they are not obligated to remain passive. In his view, justice should not depend on endless patience. Malcolm X shows the urgency of his speech through its own title, The Ballot or the Bullet, meaning change will come through political action, and if it fails, change will be made through force. His message reflects the frustration of a people who have waited generations for equality without meaningful progress. One of the strongest arguments is that Black Americans are treated as outsiders in their own country. He questions that the idea that by simply being born in the United States makes someone a fully American citizen. Malcolm points out that many Black citizens are still denied the rights and respects given to others, especially compared to European immigrants. Malcolm makes the situation a metaphor to better show the hypocrisy. He says, sitting at a table doesn't make you a diner unless you eat some of what's on the plate, showing the hypocrisy of claiming that we are all equal without real equality. Malcolm X mainly builds his argument through emotion and lived experience rather than statistics. He speaks directly to the frustration and anger and exhaustion felt by many people in the civil rights movement. His goal is not to just inform, but to make the audience feel the injustice and motivate them to make a change as the time for waiting has passed. At the same time, he frames his argument around self-defense. He argues that if the government fails to protect its citizens and or actively contributes to their oppression, then the people have the right to defend themselves. Violence, in his view, is not the first choice, but a response to violence that has been inflicted. He argues that violence at this point is self-defense. He also responds to critics who label him extreme or anti-white. He makes sure to clarify that his message is not about race, but about oppression. He states that he is against exploitation, not any specific group of people. This distinction helps clarify his argument as a fight for justice rather than hatred. Malcolm's language is intentionally strong and urgent, using phrases like "time has run out" to show that he believes that waiting for change is no longer acceptable. He pushes the idea that political progress must happen immediately, or people will take matters into their own hands. In evaluating his argument, one of the most convincing parts is his exposure of American hypocrisy. He forces the audience to confront the gap between the country's ideals of freedom and reality experienced by many Black Americans. His metaphors and comparisons make the contradiction clear and very difficult to ignore. At the same time, some may argue that his suggestion of potential violence is controversial, since it risks escalating the conflict. But regardless of agreement or disagreement, his message had a major impact on civil rights. Overall, The Ballot or the Bullet is a call for urgency and action. Malcolm X makes sure it is clear that African Americans are no longer willing to accept delayed justice. His speech remains powerful because it challenges people to confront whether democracy is truly working for everyone or only for some.